Hi, this is Wes Fryer. Today's February the 19th, 2021, and in this podcast, I'd like to show you the steps that I'm using to edit a multi-part podcast in Audacity. Audacity is a free and open source audio editing program that I love, and I've been using it for years, probably since at least, 2006, maybe even before that. And I have just, edited like hundreds of podcasts with it. And so it's something that I'm very familiar with. Some people like to use other tools. It's my tool of choice. I want to let you know that if you go to the website showwithmedia.com, you can click the link for audio interview, and there's a lot more resources. In fact, I'll probably put a link to this video here as well. But there's stuff about oral history interviews and podcast workflows, examples, creation tools. That's what this whole website is about. It is how to create different kinds of media products. And then also on my media literacy website, the curriculum site that I use for school, underneath lessons, if you scroll down and find the lesson for family oral history interview, this is the actual lesson that my sixth graders did as a multi-part lesson, and they have interviewed a member of their family. In most cases, sometimes it was a different person, but they have done that interview. And so what I'm doing now is I'm going to go ahead and bring these together. So let me show you that, I guess one of the really, here's a finished podcast. So this is a completed one. And so here in Audacity, maybe I can choose to view. I don't know if it can actually just set this is multi-track. So what I have is an introduction, and then I have some music that comes in, and then I guess I can zoom out. I have the different episodes that the students have done. So this is a fully edited episode. So what I have done to prepare for this is I have all of my assets, my resources here in this single folder. So I have recorded an introduction that I actually used a script to record, and I saved that. I just used QuickTime Player and did a new audio recording and exported that out as audio only. But I have an intro, I have an outro, and then in this case I have these three different segments that I want to do. I've also downloaded a file which now let me think about this and see, did I move it? I don't think I actually moved it from the computer where I had put it, so maybe I'll just have to download it here. I've actually been using two computers to do that. I love to use this website, film.io, as a website to be getting copyright-friendly music, and so it's not a big deal. I can download it here. This is a website that the main website used to be called Incompetech, and I think Incompetech may still be there, but it's not as dynamic. This film.io is the main one now. So here is this link, and what you can do with this, you log in and create an account, and you can click download, choose the free license, and when you accept it, then you can go ahead and download that song. And I had already copied the attribution that I'm going to be putting in. You have to attribute the song, as it says, exactly like this. But then I can use that audio file in my project. And so I've put my other ones just here in this folder, and this is the one I'm going to use. It's called Walking on Crystal. So it's important to organize your files, and I've got those all set. So now I am ready to go into Audacity and actually do my editing. So I'm going to close up this old file, and let's just start a new Audacity file. I'm going to go to File, Import, and I'm going to choose to import audio, and I'm going to navigate to my Assets folder where I have everything except my song is in a different folder, but it's all here. And I have also imported here in Audacity under Preferences. I'm on a Mac. I've imported some libraries. So I have the LAME library, which is required to export an MP3, is now built in. This is another one, though, called the Ffmpeg Library. And I had to download that, and that allows me to import not only uncompressed files like WAV and AIFF files, but I can also import the QuickTime format like the M4A file. So here's my introduction, and if I would just push play. It's Friday, February the 19th. We'll start to hear that. And then when I get to this point right here, I'm wanting music. My name is Dr. Wes. So I'm going to go ahead and import my music, and I'm going to need to do some manual auto audio ducking with this. You can have some other programs that'll do this a little bit fancier. I'm actually using the program Anchor, and I could let Anchor Online do some of this for me. But this is where my audio is going to be coming in. I'm going to click on this envelope tool, and then I'm going to go ahead and click at the beginning and drag this down because I don't want that to be too loud. Now I'm going to test this and see how it sounds. On Anchor. My name is Dr. Wes Fryer, and I'm happy to welcome you to another episode of Cast. Yay, there you go. Okay, sounds good. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually use my magnifiers. I use them quite a bit. And what I want to delete is basically all this audio from that point on. So I just highlight that and delete it. And then I'm going to want to have a nice fade here at the end so it's not an abrupt end. And so what I'm going to do with my envelope tool is I'm going to click right here. Then I'm going to go to the end, click and drag. So that's going to come down to a nice closure. And so this is how that's going to sound before the first student interview. Here's our show. Look at that. Okay, so that's a nice fade. So now, and I guess I better save this, I'm in the right folder here, and I'm going to call this my edited version. So here's episode 11 edited. So now I need to import my 3 student audio files. I need to make sure I know which one I'm going to do. So I'll go back here to my script. My dog is crying to try to get in the door. And I'm going to do Megan's first. So I'll go ahead and come up here to File and choose Import Audio. And now I'm going to navigate myself into my episode 11, and here is Megan's file. Now, my kids used iPads to record these. Some of them used the app called Voice Record Pro, which I just love. That's what Megan used. She had actually exported it as a video, as an Mpeg 4 video. You can do those kinds of conversions very readily in QuickTime Player, so that's what I had done previously, is I had just exported her file as audio only, because you can't bring video here into Audacity. Everything has to be in audio format. So now I'm going to just press my space bar to play and make sure that this transition is going to sound okay. Here's our show.
Hello, my name is Megan, and today is
Perfect, that sounds great. So now I'm going to click this button to go to the end, and I don't know if I need to.
Bye.
Okay, that's good. I can trim off a little bit here if I wanted to. And I'm not putting a bumper in between these. Sometimes I'll put an audio bumper in between segments. I'm not doing that today. I do need to make sure I know who comes next. So Susanna is coming next. So here comes Susanna's audio. Now it always brings it in at the very beginning. So I'm going to have to click and drag to get it over, and I'll use my magnifiers here. And you can see that with Susanna, she's got some dead space here before her voice starts. So I'm just going to highlight that and press the delete key. That's going to delete that audio so that we're not going to hear that. And now I'm going to play this to see if this is an okay transition, or, you know, it's too abrupt. I can put some space, more space if I need to, but I'm just basically having, as soon as one student interview ends, the next one begins here.
Thank you for spending your time with me.
It was my pleasure. Thank you.
Bye.
Hello, my name is Susanna Brown.
Looks great. All right, so now we got one more to come in. So again, I'm going to just make sure the end.
About this. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
Bye.
All right, perfect. Don't need to do any editing there. So we're going to bring in our last one, and that is going to be Keiko. So here she comes. Now I'm going to go ahead and drag, same routine here. Drag that over. I can see, and maybe I'll play this so you can hear it. That little spike at the beginning, I can see the waveform. This is not something I want. Like, I think her speaking starts right here. Let me play this to hear what this sounds like.
Hello.
See how that was just like getting set and moving the iPad or something like that around. So I'm just going to delete that, and that way it just has a nice beginning without any kind of distracting noises.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Hello, my name is Keiko, and
all right, and there's the last one. And now I'm going to go to the end here. Make sure this is all right.
Sure.
Let's play a little more of that.
And I really enjoyed this time with you. Sure.
Okay, so I don't know that we need this last part.
This time with you. Sure.
Okay, there we go. So now those are all those interviews. Now, periodically, I'm using my keyboard shortcuts, I'm pressing Command S to save project. I could do that from the file menu, of course, and I just do that as a habit. When you work in the cloud and Google Docs and things like that, it's automatically saving. But when you're using a third-party software client like this, you're kind of old school, and you got to remember to save your files. And I just do that regularly because I have, lost some files before in the past. I'm going to go ahead and bring in the same audio file that I used in my introduction, but I'm going to bring this in now to have this for my conclusion. And I'm going to actually let this, I think I want to go ahead and have an envelope lead in. So I'm going to click here, and then I'm going to drag it like this so that this will kind of start. In fact, I'll overlap it just a little bit. Let's see what this sounds like.
Of me if I went to art school.
I think it's really neat for somebody to have like somebody that inspired them and still be in touch with them. That's really special.
Yeah, I'm really grateful for her.
Yeah. Well, thank you for agreeing to be in my history recording, and I really enjoyed this time with you.
Sure.
All right, there we go. The nice little audio starts up there. I actually think that I'm going to not going to want to play quite so much. So I'm going to move that over a little bit. Anyway, let's see what this sounds like. This is a little fancier than I sometimes do. What I want to bring in now is my outro that I did for my conclusion. And this is going to be here. Episode 11 outro. I'll go ahead and drag that over. We'll see how this sounds. I could just have myself talk and then fade the music behind. But we'll go ahead and play that from here and hear how that sounds.
I'm really grateful for her.
Yeah. Well, thank you for agreeing to be in my history recording, and I really enjoyed this time with you.
Sure.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Cassidy Voices Podcast. All right. It's all right. I think it's delaying maybe a little bit, so I'm going to delete that and move it over a little bit. That should be fine. Okay, so same routine here now. I've got to just delete the audio that I'm not going to use. I'm going to have a little bit of audio at the end, so I'm going to just highlight here, delete that. I'll go ahead and zoom in, and here as I stop talking, I'm going to want to use my envelope tool, so I'll click here, and then I'm just going to zoom that up, and then here at the end, I'm gonna cause it to fade out. There's other ways to do fades. I've used the envelope tool for a long time, and yeah, that's what I end up using. And so we can listen to that if we want. I'm confident that's going to be fine. So I'm going to go ahead and save it. And now I am done with this edit. I still have to normalize it, and then I'll put it on Anchor, but I'm getting close here. So I used to export in an uncompressed format. In fact, I've done FLAC a lot now, which is I guess a relatively newer format. Wave. The thing is, it's so big, and technically, I think if you're a purist for audio, you don't want to compress more than once. But I really, for these audio podcasts, I think it sounds just fine. So I'm going into my folder and I'm exporting it. I'm going to just leave it at this pretty significant quality. This is 192 kilobits per second. It's still an MP3, so that is a compressed file, but I've done a bunch of these now and it sounds fine. So the nice thing about using a compressed file is it's definitely going to be going on the web a lot faster. So, you might think, oh, okay, you're done. You're ready to publish. And over here on my podcast channel, I am going to be publishing this on Anchor, but I'm not going to upload it yet. Here's what I'm going to do. And I've been using this for years and absolutely love it. This is a website called Alphonic, and it will normalize my audio. So down here below, you can see the original audio of my last episode, but then Alphonic, this is what it did. It leveled it, and it brought the volume levels up so that it just sounds consistent. It has a consistent sound to it. And so you do have to pay. I've got like an hour and a half of processing time. It's based on the length of your podcast. I've created presets before. I've been using this for a while. And so I need to find my final edited episode 11. What I have been doing, we're doing several levels of compression here, which again, an audio purist may cringe at this because I just compressed it a little bit from Audacity. And so I'm going to choose to do a 64 kilobit normalization, normalized to that quality. It's called a bit rate. When I export my podcasts on my Speed of Creativity channel, and I guess actually I do this for our EdTech Situation Room, which I need to publish tonight too. I do 32 kilobits. Audiobooks can be at 32 kilobit, even 16 kilobit. But anyway, sometimes people export really large, and you don't need to do that, super large files when you're doing podcasts, even if you're using a little bit of background audio. So anyway, 64 is going to be fine. This is what I love about Alphonic, and I have these choices selected in this preset. I've got the adaptive leveler and then loudness normalization. Sometimes if I do have, noises and stuff like that in the background, I'll do noise and hum, but I haven't been doing that here. And then I think I just left that as a target of -16 LUFS. I have no idea what that stands for, but it says podcast and mobile, so that's what I'm going for. So I go ahead and say start production. And what this is going to do, and this takes a little while, is it is uploading the file to the Alphonic website, and then it's actually going to process on the server. Now, a number of years ago, like 10 plus years ago, I was using some downloadable software called the Levelator, which the Conversations Network had created and put out for free. It was a downloadable Windows and Mac program, and it would do the same thing. It would normalize, but they stopped supporting that, and at some point I ended up discovering Alphonic and have really, really liked it. If I didn't do this, because I have, students who use different devices, they were different distances from the speaker, there was just a wide range of variability in their recordings, the actual ending podcast would not sound that great. And you can kind of see that. I'm going to leave this for a second. I'll press Command Tab, if you don't know this trick, to be tab switching here. When I come back here to, zoom out, my podcast episodes here, look at the levels here. You can see there's Keiko's level, and then there's Susanna's, and then there's Megan's. Megan's is louder. There's just a lot of inconsistency in those levels. And so again, that is what Alphonic is doing. Look at that. Isn't that awesome? This was showing my original voice levels, and then look at it leveled. That is really, really awesome. And it's brought it down as a 9.6 meg file, which is not too bad at all. These all, I've tried to time these to be, select the elements or the episodes of these so that they're all about 20 minutes long combined. So I have just clicked download, and what I'm ready to do now, here in my Chrome browser, I've set up a different person for this account. I am ready to upload my file here into Anchor. And so here, this is where I'm publishing my file. Now, actually, I didn't move it because it downloaded. So let me move it there. Here in my downloads folder, it uses the same file name. And so I will call this normalized. I could call it final as well. It doesn't change the file name, so that can be a little confusing. The one that I uploaded was called episode 11 edited MP3, and so I just renamed this. And I'm going to now move it from my downloads into the same assets folder where all the rest of my pieces of this podcast have been. So here it is. Oh, that's not it. That was not it. I got to be careful. I did this earlier. I'm on episode 11, and it just went to my last folder that I was in. So here I am in episode 11. There's the one I want, and now I'm going to upload this. So what Anchor is going to do is it is going to further compress the file, and it is going to get it ready for publication. Anchor is wonderful. I do have a separate Anchor channel that's more of an experiment personally. This is called Class with Dr. Fryer. And that is, a channel I don't use that often. But one of the challenges of having a podcast is you've got to figure out where those files are going to be hosted. And there are some free places that you can, go, but sometimes they go away, and Anchor could change their policies at some point as well, but at this point, Anchor is hosting podcast assets for free, and that's wonderful. And I could actually have multiple items here, put backgrounds. I've just chose today to do all of my editing in Audacity, and I just uploaded this, finalized file. But you can definitely include music in different segments, and I've done that before here on Anchor. And you can do that in the app that you have for the iPad, iPhone, or Android, or you can just do it web-based. So I'm going to go ahead and click Save. Now I need a title for my episode, and I'll go back to my script here, and I have already written down what I want to call this episode. So we'll go ahead and paste that in, and then I'm going to just copy the same description that I had before, but I need to make a few changes to it. For instance, these ladies are the ones who did the interviews here, so I need to go ahead and erase those names. I say paste and match style so that I'm not going to be changing the formatting here. This is rich text formatting, and I don't want to have this looking all wonky. So this is also a series of 3 family oral interviews. Okay, and talking about, and then this is what I put into the title. So I need to change this too. With family members and friends, or I'll just say, and fellow and former and Cassidy alumni. This was a little bit different from our other interviews. And what were they talking about? They were talking about building a company together, celebrating Christmas. This isn't the title, so I don't want these. And remaining Cassidy School in years gone by. Okay. Sorry to be taking so long to do this. All right. The last thing I need to do is get my correct attribution. So this is the previous attribution. I chose a different song here, and this is Walking on Crystal, so I'm going to copy that as well. It's important to properly attribute your sources, and that's part of the deal with using these Creative Commons songs is you've got to be attributing them appropriately. So I'm going to click copy that, click to make that a link, copy this, and make that a link as well. Don't actually think I want that bolded. I don't know why. Oh. Okay, I think I'm set. All right, so now I can click the publish button. Publish now. And that is now published on the internet, and so that folks can visit our main, Anchor channel and see it. The last step that I'm doing is I'm actually embedding this on a Google site where I have collected all of these podcasts. So here is this page, and what I've been doing is creating a text box and putting in the episode title. This is my very last one to do for this trimester. All right, and then we'll say interviews by, and we'll get our student names. And what I'm going to end up doing here is copying the code. I'm going to copy the direct link to the podcast, and I'm also going to copy the embed code so that those are going to be able to go on here, just like you see down here below. So I'll go here to Anchor, and I click on the share link, and here's where it gives me both of those links. This URL is the direct link to the episode, and so I've changed these to this heading 2, and I'm going to make that a link so that if people do want to link out, forgot gone by. If people do want to directly link out to Anchor, they can do that. But then I'm also putting what probably most people will use here, and that is the embed code. And so I click in Google Sites that I want to put embed code in, and it's going to give me that code, or it's going to put that code in with a little nice preview. And so I'm going to drag this underneath here. And then the only thing left that I have to do is my music attribution. So here's my attribution for the song that I used there. And I'm going to put a new text box in here. And I'll do the same thing that I did here. I'll say podcast music attribution. And then I'll make this a bulleted list. And I'll make these links. Oops, guess it automatically did that when I just clicked the link tool. Oh, okay. That's it, sports fans. Basically, let me drag this underneath here. And I'll just leave this. Well, maybe I'll center this. Okay. Publish the changes. So, that's a lot of steps. I know. That's why I thought, yeah, it'd be good to do a little video to show those steps. And hopefully, if you're producing podcasts yourself, I guess I can click right here. It will help to see that. So take sometimes a few minutes or a few seconds for the Google site to update. Look at that. There it is. There's my episode 11. And there is the episode that we just published. Looks like I need to maybe drag. This one has a little bit of a longer title. And so I think I'm going to actually make this just a little bit bigger. Little detail there. So that it doesn't look cut off. I'll go ahead and push play.
It's Friday, February the 19th, 2021, and you're listening to the Cassidy Voices podcast channel on Anchor. My name is Dr. Wes Fryer, and I'm happy to welcome you to another episode of Cassidy Voices, a podcast production by students and teachers at Cassidy School in Oklahoma City. This episode features 3 new interviews by 6th graders, Megan, Susanna, and Keiko.
Right, that is it. That was the right one. I'll go ahead and refresh it, see if that fixed my little overlap in the embed. It really didn't. Oh, well, that's going to be okay. All right, I think that's it. So if you hung with me that long, hope that was helpful to you. That was ways to edit a multi-part podcast. Remember that you can visit showwithmedia.com, and there'll be more resources there about audio interviews. Feel free to copy and utilize this lesson. I think oral history interviews are absolutely fantastic, and it's a great thing to help students do. So thanks for watching. Take care.